Good morning, children. So today we are going to see lesson 2, Tsunami, from your English main course. So this lesson is actually describing about one of the natural calamities which cause a huge havoc, a huge destruction on the face of our planet Earth. So let's get into the lesson. So tsunami, as you all can see in this picture, it's a Japanese word, right? Tsunami is a Japanese word which means huge waves. Tsunamis are very common to the island country of Japan. It's really very common over there. But the first major tsunami symbols or signs were found when it struck in the Hawaiian Islands. Hawaiian Islands belong to USA. So in the year 1946, a major tsunami occurred in the Hawaiian Islands. So this is a picture of the tsunami. Now let's get into our lesson. Now here, as you can see, this is the picture of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and this group of islands, it's a part of our country, India. Andaman and Nicobar Islands are situated in Bay of Bengal. Now it's also called an archipelago. What do you mean by archipelago? Archipelago means a group of islands. A group of islands together, it's called an archipelago. Now tsunami, as I already told you, means huge waves. So in this lesson, what are we going to see? We shall see some of the brave survival stories, people who faced, who saw tsunami in front of their eyes and how they survived out from those deadly waves. We shall also see that the nature is giving us some hint of coming destruction. Yes, nature keeps on giving us certain hints that something wrong is going to happen. Some destruction is going to happen. But we humans fail to recognize it. The strange behavior of animals and birds after they sense danger was also one of the warnings which these lifeless creatures wanted to convey us, but we did not hear those things. Now, following stories are from Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and here we'll see how these deadly tsunamis had caused a lot of havoc, caused a lot of destruction in the life of people. So as you all can see now, here is the page. Now as you see, tsunami is attacking the coastal areas of our country. So what is tsunami and how is it caused? Tsunami, as I already told you, it's a huge wave. It is built on a wave over the other wave. So one wave, it stands on the other wave and it forms like a huge wall. So how does it occur? Actually, it occurs in the center of the earth. That is the center of the ocean, not the earth, center of the ocean. So if there is an earthquake or a landslide or a volcanic eruption in the ocean bed, then tsunamis occur. So tsunami is caused either by earthquake or landslide or volcanic eruption, right? So on 26 December 2004, a tsunami hit Thailand and parts of India such as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Tamil Nadu coast. Yeah, it attacked our state as well. So you can see the picture of destruction which tsunami had brought in our state. Now let's move on to the next page. So here, as you all can see, the first picture, you can see something white bubbles coming out. Actually, it is a picture of a volcanic eruption, right? Opposite to that, you can see the picture of of a landslide, right? That's a landslide, the circular picture, which is half a semicircle sort of a thing. Actually, is a picture of landslide. When there is a landslide, this kind of a thing appears, right? And below it, you can see an earthquake, right? Earthquake. So, tsunamis are caused either due to volcanic eruption, or due to landslide, or due to an earthquake. All these happen under the ocean, under the sea, that is on the ocean bed. So you should not think that volcanoes are only on the land. It is in oceans as well. So whenever there is any disturbance in the ocean bed, waves slam the coastal areas and try to bring a lot of destruction, right? So these are the three causes which bring tsunami waves. Now we'll see the story of a man, Ignatius. Now this man was a bank manager and he worked in Kachal, right? He worked in Kachal, and he was a manager of the cooperative society. So in the morning when tsunami had occurred in Kachal, his wife woke him up at 6 a.m. early in the morning, 6 o'clock. The woman, that is Ignatius' wife, she woke him up and she told him, get up, come on, something wrong is happening, because she felt an earthquake. She felt that the ground which she was standing in, the house was shaking, all the things were shaking. So she woke her husband up. Ignatius knew when there is the earthquake, everything starts shaking, and those which are kept on shelves or which are kept on higher altitude, they will shake and they will fall. So it may cause some problem. So what Ignatius does first is he lifts up the television carefully from the table and keeps it on the ground so that it wouldn't fall and break. Then the family ran out of the house. So whenever there is an earthquake, so this family had experienced the earthquake in the morning, early in the morning at 6 o'clock. So whenever there is an earthquake, we are always asked to come out of the house. So why it is said so? Because buildings may not be strong. So if there is an earthquake, the building may shake and it may fall down, killing people, those who are trapped inside the building. So it is always better that whenever you feel an earthquake, it is better you come out on the roads, on the streets. So the family also came out on the streets. When the tremors shaking, when the shaking stopped, they saw that the sea was rising. The sea was rising. In the chaos and confusion, and they did not know what to do. There was a lot of disturbance. There is a lot of chaos. Chaos means confusion, disturbances. So there was a lot of chaos and confusion. Ignatius' 2 children. Ignatius had 5 children altogether. So 2 of his children caught hands of their grandfather and uncle. So Ignatius's first 2 children, what they did was, one held the hand of the grandfather, whose father, mother's father, so maternal grandfather. So one child held the hand of grandfather and the other child held the hand of mother's brother, that is uncle, mama. So they had held the hands of these 2 people, the grandfather and the uncle. And the grandfather, the uncle and these 2 children started running towards the opposite direction of the tsunami. So if tsunami was coming from the east direction, they started running to the opposite direction of the tsunami. But a strong wave came and then they were never spotted by Ignatius. He could never see them again. So it was assumed that the waves had pulled those 4 people towards the center and they were brought into the ocean where they died. Similarly, his wife, Ignatius's wife, was also swept away by a huge wave and she also lost her life. Ignatius was holding the hands of 3 children who came along with him, and these 3 children were lucky to survive. That was a very pathetic situation that happened in the life of Ignatius. Now we shall see another man's story, and this is Sanjeev. Now as you all can see that Sanjeev is a policeman, right? He has a small family, a very lovely family. Sanjeev was a policeman serving in the Kachal Island. So earlier also I told you that Ignatius was working in the Kachal Island. He was the manager in the cooperative society. So where is Kachal? It is in Nicobar group of islands. So Sanjeev was a policeman and he was serving in the Kachal Island in the Nicobar group of islands. Somehow he managed to save himself, his wife and his baby daughter from the waves. So they knew that something wrong is going to happen. So he was a policeman, he had got so many training, so he had taken them to a place of safety. So they had moved to a higher altitude, உயரமான ஒரு groundக்கு அவங்க போய் சேஃபா இருந்துட்டாங்க. They went to a higher ground and they were safe. But at that time, suddenly Sanjeev heard the cries of help. Somebody was crying out to Sanjeev, begging him, asking him to help. And Sanjeev could realize it was the wife of his cook. So Sanjeev had a cook and that cook worked in his guest house. Sanjeev's guest house, the cook worked and the cook's wife was calling out. The name of the cook was John. So John's wife was shouting for help. Sanjeev felt that he should save that woman. So he jumped into the water to save her. But they were both swept away. They were both washed away. They were both pulled by the waves, tsunami waves towards the center of the ocean and both of them lost their lives. Now here comes another story. So our next character, that is our third character, is a 13-year-old girl called Meghna. Yeah. Can you see Meghna over here? Right. So the third character, this is 13-year-old girl Meghna. Meghna was swept away along with her parents and 77 other people. So as soon as they also felt the earthquake, when they felt that the ground shaking and the house was shaking with everything shaking, the family, that is Meghna and her parents, they had all come to the road. And along with them, there were 77 other people. At that time, huge waves came and they pulled everything towards the center of the ocean. Luckily, Meghna could float on the surface of the water. She spent 2 days. Imagine, children, she was just floating on the water for 2 days with no food, no water, and God knows how she survived those 2 days just floating on the water because she held on a wooden door. She found a wooden door and she was holding the wooden door. She was on top of the wooden door and this was how she was floating for 2 days in the sea. 11 times, not 1 or 2 times, she saw the relief helicopters which find out people caught up in a situation and they try to save people. So 11 times she could see that the helicopters were flying over her head and she was shouting, but those people could not spot her. Neither could she shout in such a big voice that they could hear. So what happened? Finally, a big wave pushed her back to the shore. Seeing no other rescue, a wave pushed her back to the shore and she walked on the ground in a daze. She was half conscious and half unconscious. She did not know. She was in a very big shock because in front of her own eyes, she had seen the destruction of so many people. So many people died and so many people got perished away by the huge waves. All this she had seen in front of her eyes and she did not know what she is going to do because she was also greatly shocked. Now here comes our fourth character from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Our fourth character is Almaz Javed. She's just a 10-year-old. She was just a 10-year-old girl and she was a student in Carmel Convent in Port Blair. Now where is Port Blair? It's in Andaman Island. Now in Andaman Island, her father used to work in a petrol bunk. So her father worked in a petrol bunk. Her mother Rahila's home was in Nankauri Island. Now, where is Nankauri? It is in Nicobar part of Nicobar group of islands. So, mother's house was in Nankauri. Family, Alma's parents, Alma's family had decided to celebrate Christmas this year in Nankauri Island. So, they had come from Port Blair to Nankauri. On that day, the next day, the family could feel the shaking, earthquake. They could feel the earthquake, and at that time when they were feeling it, actually the family was sleeping. Alma's father, he saw that the water was receding. Now, receding means moving back, giving a backward walk. So, moving back in a great force. Alma's father knew that if the sea water is moving back in such a great force, then it is going to come back to the shore in a much faster force. So he started waking up the other members of the family and asked them to rush out of the house because anything may happen in such a fraction of a second. So he understood that the waters are going to come back and they are going to demolish everything. So he woke everyone and tried to rush them to a safer place. As the family members were running on the street to go to a higher altitude, at that time something hit Alma's grandfather. So grandfather was an old man. So when he was trying to run, at that time something came with a big force, maybe a wooden plank or something, and it hit her grandfather. The grandfather fell down. So her father, seeing the old man falling down, he went to help him. But at the same time, a huge, first giant wave came and it pulled them back to the center of the ocean. So the giant wave, first wave came, the first wave which had gone back to the center of the ocean, it came back and it pulled Alma's father and grandfather, and they were never ever seen again. So this was the first death in Alma's life, in Alma's family. Now, Alma also had her mother and her aunts. They were also with Alma, and they had gone to a higher ground, but they thought as the water had covered the whole place, they were holding the coconut tree's leaf. They felt that the water has come up, and now if they can hold the coconut leaves, there maybe because the water had come to such an extent, such a high level, and they were holding the coconut tree's leaf. They felt that they can save themselves, and they were calling out people to come and help. But nobody could help because everybody was caught up in those tsunami waves. Suddenly, a big wave came and it uprooted the tree, pulled the tree by its wave, just like a small grass. So that much is the power of the wave. It pulled out the tree, and the three of them, that is the mother, the aunts, everyone was washed out. Alma saw a log of wood, a marekatte pata. It was floating on the water. So she climbed on that log of wood, and then she fainted. Adukku maikam vandiruchu. She fainted. She became unconscious. When she woke up, she found herself in Kamorta. She was in Kamorta hospital. And from there, she was brought to Port Blair, to her house in Port Blair. The little girl does not want to talk about that incident again with anyone because she was traumatized. In front of her own eyes, she had seen her father, grandfather, aunt, and mother die. So she was in a great shock, and she did not want to even think about that deadly day, the unfortunate day when this sort of a calamity happened in her life. Now we come to our next character, and this is a young and brave and smart girl from England. So her name is Tilly Smith. Tilly Smith saved a life of a few people. Now, how did she save, and what is her story? Let's hear it. So the Smith family from Southeast England was celebrating Christmas at a beach resort in southern Thailand. So Smith family, Tilly Smith's family. So Tilly Smith's family, they have come from Southeast England. They actually belong to England. But that year, they decided to celebrate Christmas on a beach resort. The hotel which has a beach. So they wanted to celebrate Christmas on a beach resort, and so they had come to southern Thailand. Tilly Smith was just a 10-year-old schoolgirl at that time, and she also had a 7-year-old sister. Her parents were Penny and Colin Smith. So Penny is the mother, Colin is the father. So it was 26 December 2004 when the deadly, dangerous tsunami waves were already on their way. So they had been triggered by a massive earthquake of northern Sumatra. So northern Sumatra is an island. There was an earthquake there. So because of the earthquake, the waves were building one over the other, and it was trying to wash out the shores of Thailand. So they were coming on a great speed. So the water was swelling and kept coming in. Penny Smith remembered. So the mother remembered that all of a sudden she could see that the water was swelling up. Water was swelling up. How can we relate this to? When you keep milk in the stove, பாலை காய்ச்சும் போது என்ன ஆகுது? பால் அப்படியே மேலே வருதா? அதே மாதிரி the water was swelling up as something happened under the ocean, and because of that the water was swelling up and it kept coming towards them. The beach was getting smaller and smaller. I didn't know what was happening. So Penny Smith is Tilly's mother, and she was telling that the beach was becoming smaller. How can a beach become smaller? Because the waves were covering the land. So they were coming at a great speed, and it was covering the land. So the beach appeared smaller and smaller. Penny Smith did not know what was happening, but something was happening, terribly wrong was happening, and this she could see in Tilly's behavior, because Tilly behaved in a very strange, unusual, weird manner. How did Tilly behave? Let's see in our next page. So as you all can see, so this is how the waves were attacking. Can you see how it is building one wave over the other? It is 20 times taller than the tallest building. So the tallest building is just like a small toy in front of the huge waves. Can you see it? How it had attacked the southern Thailand. This is the manner. Now here in this page you can see Tilly's family, right? Tilly's father Colin Smith, and Tilly's mother Penny, and Tilly and her sister, right? Can you see this? Yeah. Okay, this is Tilly's family. Now, but Tilly sensed that something was wrong. Something was wrong. She tried to recall everything what she had learned in her geography lesson. So Tilly Smith was again thinking that somewhere she has seen this, and just 2 weeks before, her geography teacher had shown her a video of tsunami. So how it attacks and what are the signs it shows, and how we can know that the tsunami is going to occur, and it is going to cause a lot of devastation, destruction, calamity. It is going to cause a lot of calamity. How it is going to do it, it was all shown in that video. So Tilly saw that the sea was slowly rising. It was foaming na noreya kattite irunduchu, bubble, it was bubbling, and it was forming whirlpools. Whirlpool na sulal uruvaguradhu. So it was forming whirlpools. She remembered that she had seen the same thing in a video of a tsunami that hit the Hawaiian Islands in 1946. So where are the Hawaiian Islands? Hawaiian Islands is a part of America, and it is in Pacific Ocean. So in 1946, there was a video recorded. It was the first record, and it had shown all these signs. So Tilly started shouting to her family, come on, something wrong is going to happen. There is a tsunami. There is a tsunami. And she started shouting hysterically. Na paityo madri katha aramchita. Her geography teacher had shown her class the video and told them that the tsunamis can be caused by earthquakes, volcanoes and landslides. In that particular lesson that the teacher had shared. So she was talking. There was Penny Smith, her mother, was told that Tilly was telling there is an earthquake under the ocean, and so that's why the waves are coming. We are all going to die. So we need to do something. It's tsunami coming. Please run. And she was shouting hysterically. Mother did not know what to say, whether to believe her daughter, but still she felt that she should trust her daughter. So the family took shelter in the hotel. So now here in this picture you can see the image of, can you see this image? Yeah, this is the image of the sea foam and the கடல்ல வந்து நொரையா ஆகுதுன்னு சொல்றேனா, foaming. This is foaming. This is bubbling. Can you see? This is bubbling and this is forming whirlpool. Right? This is forming whirlpool. Can you see the whirlpools which are formed? So these are the signs which Tilly saw. Right. So, but seeing the daughter so frightened, the daughter was really very frightened and she was shouting in a hysterical manner. So Tilly's parents took her and her sister away from the beach and they went to the swimming pool of the hotel. So they went inside the hotel where there was a swimming pool and they stood there to find what was about to happen. A number of other tourists also came when they went running back to the swimming pool. So the other tourists also saw this and they also ran back after them. But then they saw that it was like the entire ocean, the whole of the ocean was coming after them, trying to pull them back to the center of the ocean. And so Penny, the mother of the girls, said, run. And the family, they ran inside the hotel. They took refuge in the third floor. Remember, children, not the ground floor. They went to the third floor and they stayed there. At that time, 3 massive tsunami waves, it surged. It came forward to attack the resort, the hotel. 3 times it came and it attacked, it tried to demolish the building, but luckily the building was so strong that it could bear the attack of tsunami and nothing happened. When the water went back to the ocean, the Smith family, when they met the other tourists, they heard that the other tourists had lost their entire family. So thanks to Tilly and her geography lesson, that they had been forewarned. So the geography lesson had given them a warning that this kind of a thing could happen and this kind of a thing leads to a lot of destruction of life and property. Tilly went back to her school in England and told her classmates how terrifying, how dangerous position they were caught in and how luckily or fortunate they were when they came out of that particular problem. So now, this was all about the things which we heard in Thailand. Now, we are going to see what happened in India and Sri Lanka, right? So, stories from India and Sri Lanka. So here there are animals picture. You might be wondering why there ma'am had shown all the human being, but now here animals. Because the tsunami waves which attacked in India and Sri Lanka, not only in India and Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Thailand, all the other coastal places, when it had attacked, many people died, but the carcasses means dead bodies. No, very few or no dead bodies of animals were found. How could this be? Let's see it. So before the giant waves attacked, had beaten into the coast of India and Sri Lanka, wild and domestic animals seemed to know what was about to happen. So wild animals, not only the wild animals, but the domestic or the pet animals also knew that something wrong is going to happen. So they ran to safety. According to eyewitnesses, the people who were watching this, they said that elephants screamed, the elephants trumpeted, shouted, and they ran for higher grounds. Dogs were always ready to go outdoors. They refused to come outdoors on those days. So we all know, those who are having pet dogs at home, you might be seeing that as soon as you open the gate of your door, the dogs will be running out because they don't like to be shut up inside the cage. So always they like to be free and they love running here and there. But that day, they could sense something wrong is going to happen, and that's why they refused to go outdoor. Now flamingo is a pink bird. You can see that, right? So flamingos abandoned, left their low-lying breeding areas. So flamingo birds, what do? They go to the seashore and there they lay eggs. Even if there is a danger, this flamingo bird, you know what does it do? It will stuck up its head inside the mud. Because the sand over there is loose, no? So it will bury its head inside the sand. But since it could see that this danger cannot be avoided, flamingos, they left their eggs and they ran to the higher altitude ground. Zoo animals, they did not come out of their shelter. They went and hid inside the shelter. And even if someone was trying to give them something to eat, they could not be enticed. Enticed, na tempted. Tempted na உங்களுக்கு எதுவும் காமிச்சு வெளியில வரதுக்கு ஏதாவது டெம்ப்ட்னா ஏதாவது காமிச்சு சாப்பிடுற மாதிரி கொடுத்துட்டு அவங்கள வெளியில வர வைக்கிறதுக்கு ஏதாவது பண்ணுவாங்கல்ல. So that is meaning is enticed, tempted. So nobody could tempt the animals to come out even if they showed something edible to them. No animal was ready to come out of this shelter because they could sense something wrong is going to happen. Now, here we see many people believe that animals possess a sixth sense and know when the earth is going to shake. So children, we believe, scientists have said that animals have only 5 senses. Now what are the 5 senses? Seeing, touching, smelling, hearing and tasting. These are the 5 senses. But there is a 6th sense also which pricks up, and this 6th sense is there in human beings. That is what people argued and believed. Now what is the 6th sense? 6th sense is a sense of your consciousness. Sometimes when we walk in the darkness, we feel like something is going to attack us, or maybe something wrong is going to happen to us. That is called as consciousness. When you do not complete your homework, your consciousness pricks you, tells you that you're going to get punishment from your teacher. So that is called as consciousness or the 6th sense. But people believe that even animals possess the 6th sense, and that's why they were able to save themselves. Some experts believe that animals have sharp listening skills, acute listening skills, and that's why they could feel the earth's vibration, earth shaking. They could feel it, and they were able to save themselves. They can sense an approaching danger. They can feel the coming danger long before humans with their latest gadgets and technology can figure out. The animals can find out, sense it, and they can save themselves. See, they did not believe in science and technology. They did not have the latest gadget with them. But still, since they were so close to the nature, they walked on the surface of the land, they were able to sense the approaching danger, coming danger. Now, we cannot be sure whether animals have a 6th sense or not, but the fact is that when the giant waves rolled from the Indian Ocean, it killed more than 150,000 people. Here in this lesson, it is just given 150,000, but actual records say it was more than 2 lakh people. 2 lakh people from a dozen countries, from more than 12 countries, a dozen countries, more than 150,000 people died. But not many animals have been reported as dead. Human beings died, but animals' dead body, it was not found. Right. Now let's come to the next page. Here is our next page. Yeah. So it was India's Cuddalore coast where thousands of people perished Buffaloes, goats and dogs were found unharmed. India's Cuddalore coast, you know Cuddalore district, right? When that coast had attack from tsunami waves, many people died. But buffaloes, goats, dogs, nothing happened to them because they could see, they could sense something is going to happen, and that's why they went to a place of safety. Maybe if God had given them the talent of speaking, if they had the gift of speaking in human language, they would have warned us. But still, they had been giving us warning by not coming out of the house, not coming out of the shelter. We human could not understand the silent signs which they were giving. Now here we are going to discuss about the Yala National Park. Now Yala National Park is the second biggest national park in Sri Lanka and is the most visited national park. Now it is a home of variety of animals. There are so many animals over there like elephants, leopards and more than 130 different kinds of birds are found in Yala National Park. 60 visitors on that day, that is on 26 December 2004, 60 visitors came to Patangala beach. So Yala National Park has a small beach also. It has a big rock called the Patangala rock and there is a small beach also. So 60 visitors who had come there to the beach, they were all washed out. But no animal carcass, dead body. No animal dead body was found except for 2 water buffaloes. So how many animals died? 2 water buffaloes alone died. And it is said that about an hour before 1 hour before tsunami could hit, people at Yala National Park had observed that 3 elephants, they started trumpeting and they ran away from the Patangala beach. Actually, they had come to the Patangala beach just 1 hour before the tsunami wave attacked Patangala beach. The elephants ran away from the Patangala beach to show because they sensed that something wrong is going to happen. Now this is the Patangala beach and the rock which you see is the Patangala rock. So this was the place where the tsunami had attacked. Now you see, can you see this beach in a more wider angle? Yeah, this is the Patangala beach in Sri Lanka. Right. Now, in the next page you have the Yala National Park. Can you see how it is, what condition it is in now after the tsunami waves had rocked that particular park. So, right. Now, we come to now we come to know about one Sri Lankan gentleman. Now, a Sri Lankan gentleman who lives in the coast near Gale, so he is from Gale, he said that on that particular day, as usual, he was wanting to go for a morning walk on the beach, but his 2 dogs would not go for their daily run on the beach. Actually, they are always excited to go. They are usually excited to go on this outing. But on that day, they refused to go, and just because they did not go out, this man was also saved. Because if he had gone, if the dogs had gone on the outing, definitely the waves would have pulled him to the center of the ocean and he and his dogs would have lost their lives. Just because of this dog, this Sri Lankan gentleman was saved. Now children, as you all can see, tsunami waves had caused a lot of havoc and destruction, right? This is the sign which nature keeps on giving us. It tells us, it warns us that if we do something against nature, it is not going to be silent. There is a limit for everything. Those tsunamis are triggered because of some disturbances in the ocean bed. But how can this happen? Because we keep on drilling the ocean bed for oil. So whenever there is an oil well which is drilled out in the ocean bed, disturbances happen. Either the earthquake comes or there is a landslide or there is a volcanic eruption. Something happens and because of this, tsunami waves occur. So there is a limit for everybody's patience. The most powerful is the Mother Nature created by God. So God has given power to Mother Nature, and if we do anything wrong with her, definitely we are going to be the huge payer of the prices. Because animals, since they are very close to nature, they will be able to save themselves. But we humans, since we have cut off all our relations with nature, will not be able to save. Imagine the life of early man, how it was. Early man knew everything from nature. Nature taught him everything when he observed how plants grow, how animals feed, how they reproduce. So he was able to learn many things because he was close to nature. So nature teaches many more things when we respect it. But when we disregard it, it brings curse on us. So it is better we respect nature and we respect every life which is a gift of nature, which is a gift of God. Be thankful for whatever you have. Be thankful for a lovely family that you have. With this, I shall wind up the lesson.